fuck down.
Okay.
I appreciate the applause, I do, really, but it's okay, it's not necessary, because if there's one thing I've learned being married, it's that I'm not equipped to live up to expectations. So real quick, no judgment here, just like to gauge the kind of audience I'm working with. How many of you out here, show of hands, believe in a loving God? Okay. Alright, quite a few. Now, how many of you have encountered another person's pubic hair on a public toilet seat? Did some of you raise your hands twice? Why the... That's scary, alright? That's like a diagnosable level of delusion. Encountering another man's short curlies in the normal course of my day is all the proof I've ever need that there's no God. And I just took a trip to Florida in a van with 4 kids and back, so that's a lot of shitters. I know what I'm talking about. It's enough to make you wish you were like a cyborg, you know, so you never had to go to the bathroom again like RoboCop, but without the inherent sense of justice and rightness, because, you know, me. So really, any other cyborg from fiction ever, I picked like the worst fucking example I could have. Anyway, that's not what I came up here to say. But no, I did just take a trip to Florida. I drove down to Disney World through the Make-A-Wish Foundation for my kids. And while we were there, we went up near Jacksonville for a day at the beach. We went to Ormond Beach, which it was absolutely beautiful. You guys want to hear my impression of Ormond Beach?
Sure.
I don't give a fuck about no high tides. I'll grab my pickup where the shit I want. No, Sharice, the ocean ain't like a swimming pool. You can go swimming if you got the clap. What could I do? I told her she didn't suck my dick. I wasn't going to take her, drive her down to the IHOP, you know? Did I mention we were there on spring break? Anyway, I'm getting older now. It's a fucking thing that happens to people. You know, it's weird. I just turned 31, and as my wife so eloquently put it, turning 30 was fine because I was 30. But now I'm in my 30s, and it hurts my fucking soul. Like, honestly, I didn't even expect to still be alive at this point, let alone responsible for, like, small children living things that if I screw up and do a shit job, I go to jail. It was not part of the plan. But, you know, as you grow older, you change. You know, things change. And that's okay, it happens to everybody. But those moments when you notice the changes can frankly be just fucking terrifying. Like, I didn't know this about myself until recently. Turns out, contrary to what I believed, I am the kind of guy who will use a cell phone holster. Now, I know right now a lot of you are probably thinking, douchebag. And frankly, I just can't argue with that, so we'll just move on. But you also, you get an increased sense of empathy, you know? You can feel and understand what other people are feeling. For example, I know exactly how my brother felt a couple of years when he started going bald. And I discovered that both hair loss and coping mechanisms are genetic. The weirdest change, though, the weirdest thing that's happened to me, is how weirdly sentimental I've become. Like kids' movies, for example. Like, okay, I cried at Brave, I cried at Frozen, you know. If you didn't cry at the end of Toy Story 3, you didn't have a fucking childhood. That's just a fact. Those ones are fine. It's when it sneaks up on me unexpectedly that I start to worry about, like, what's going on in here, like, what's wrong with me, do I need to be committed somewhere, do I need to see somebody? Like, I cried during A Dolphin Tale, but I don't give a shit about dolphins. Like, are they made of meat? Fuck them. I cried during Gulliver's Travels with Jack Black, which, if you're lucky, you didn't even know was a thing. The Muppets, when Animal finally drums on Rainbow Connection, I openly sobbed in a theater with one of my sons on each leg, just sobbing. It was the first time my son ever said, "What's wrong with Daddy?" Won't be the last. But it's not just movies. I was outside of Paducah, Kentucky, okay, on our drive back. We stopped for gas, and this couple walked out, well, walked is a generous word, they lumberously waddled. They had to be pushing 600-700 pounds each, I'm not exaggerating. So they walk out, well, waddle, out of the gas station, and they have the same waddle. It's in perfect synchronicity. And they have identical front butts. And their little sausage fingers are perfectly intertwined, and the grease on their hands is commingling in this beautiful arrangement. The smell of gravy's thick in the air. And I got choked up, not from like the smell or the shift in local gravity, just deep in my soul. Like, my first thought was, is somebody for everybody. That douchebag thought went through my head. That was my first instinct. And I was proud of that. I was proud that was the first thing. I mean, but my second thought was just to vomit all down in front of myself. Because, you know, they were walking out to their Ford Fiesta because in the South, physics don't apply. But, you know, my first thought was, somebody for everybody. But I think about weight. You know, I worry about it. I wouldn't say I obsess over it, but I think about it a lot. Mine specifically. Like, you know, this right here, this, not a good situation for anybody. Nobody involved is happy about it. It's like a jury summons. No one wants anything to do with it, including me. It's just got type 2 diabetes and heart disease written all over it. So I'll grill myself like a nice little piece of fish for lunch, you know, in frying pan with some olive oil and some lemon pepper seasoning. And while that's cooking, I'll stand over the sink and eat a half a jar of Nutella with a spoon. Because I'm a smart guy and my knowledge about my situation doesn't inform my decisions fucking at all. But it's getting out of control. I'm getting a little too heavy. I know that's a fact because my kids are my barometer. Because, like, okay, my kid's nursed. Lots of kids do. It's the best thing you can do, you know. It's perfectly natural. And my youngest especially, for a lot of kids, it became more about pleasure and comfort than the actual act of nursing and getting nutrition. And he got to a point where he just wanted to, like, play with them. And then one day, he decided he was going to play with my tits. Which was something of a wake-up call. I'm telling you, I am one. Your boobs are soft like mommy's, away from just moving all of my comics into the 24-hour fitness and just living on a fucking treadmill. But I think I can make that work because if I get hungry, right down the street, we've got a Spangles, a KFC, 2 donut shops, an ice cream shop, and a Cinnabon. So at least I won't go hungry. I love my kids, though. I do. They're the greatest things in the world. They crush my dreams, don't get me wrong. They fucking ruin everything. But I love them. They're sweet. And hi, Daddy. It's great. But, you know, look at me. Star Wars shirt. I don't sports, okay? It's just not a thing that I do. That's not who I am. You want a sports? That's fine. I'm not going to judge you. But I do get concerned. Like, I don't want my kids to play sports. I want them to enjoy intellectual pursuits and Star Wars and card games. And I like them to roll dice for a hobby because that's the kind of nerd I am. I'm not comfortable with glorifying and making millionaires out of people who run around in a field with a ball and a stick. I thought we called that recess. But anyway, kids rebel. That's just what they do. I did it, you know. I did a whole shitload of drugs and still here to tell you these stupid-ass jokes. So I know the day's coming when one or more of my kids is going to tell me, Daddy, I want to play insert sport here. And that's fine. Like, I'm going to sign them up, I'm going to let them play, but whatever sport they want to play, I just hope they suck at it. Like, really fucking, like, to the point where, I don't care if they're like 6 and they're trying to play t-ball, they're so bad they're embarrassed and they never walk on a field, they never walk on grass again. Because, give you a frame reference for how I think. A typical father would be afraid his son is going to turn out gay, right? I'm just afraid mine's going to have good hand-eye coordination. Thank you guys very much.